How you doing, everybody? And welcome to 8 Bits in the Basement. So, I've heard an awful lot of talk over the last number of years about CRT televisions and the way they're better than LCD televisions and whatnot for old computers. And I agree with that, it's true, but I don't actually have any CRTs, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really have any intention of getting any CRT TVs. And that's why when I came across this little item here, I said, it might not be too bad an idea to pick it up. So just to give you a little bit of the history on how I came across it. Here in France, there are a chain of stores called NOS. And what NOS do is they buy in bulk from warehouses that can't really shift stock. And then what they do is they sell it on to the general public for very cheap and reasonable prices. So when I was in my local NOS store last, I came across this guy here, which I believe the history on it is, just by looking at it, it comes from Italy. All the information on it, all the user guides and all the rest are all in Italian. What it is a little black and white 5-inch CRT TV with a IR camera, and its function is to detect if euro banknotes are real or fake. The reason I picked it up was that I saw it was a little CRT TV. Okay, granted, it's black and white and it's only 5-inch, but I don't have any CRT TVs, so I figured for the price tag of €2.99, I couldn't pass it up. So what I'd like to do today anyway is to have a little look at it, to see how it works with the camera and whatnot. And what we'll do is we'll take it apart. We won't actually touch anything on the inside because it is, after all, a CRT television and I really don't want to get a shock off it, but we'll have a little look on the inside. And we'll see if we can convert it around in such a way that the port that this camera plugs into can take a composite signal from a C64 or a Coco 2 or an MSX or whatever, and see if we can play a game or two on it that way, or use a computer with it. I don't know. I figured for €3 it'd be a nice little thing to try out. And so when I opened the box, apart from the box itself and the styrofoams and whatever, the first thing we see is this power supply that it comes with. So it plugs into regular 230 volt 50 hertz European power wall socket, and what it gives us is 13.5 volts DC at 1 amp, and that guy is used to power this little TV here. And this TV itself is, as I said before, a little 5-inch black and white CRT television. And around the back, we've got a DC 13.5 volt in, and we've also got this little port here, which is marked camera, and it looks like an S-video port, but I don't believe it is. And I'll get into that a little more in a moment. Around the front, we've got our power button to turn it on and off. And in behind this little cache, there are 3 little control knobs. We've got our our vertical hold, our contrast, and our brightness adjustment knobs. So that's basically what this TV consists of. There's no speaker or anything in it, it's just a monitor. That's all it is. And the second thing is we've got this guy here. This is a little infrared camera. So it's got 6 IR LEDs around it, and it's got the camera in the middle. And that's basically that. Now then it's got what looks like, again, an S-video port, which is connected to the TV using this S-video cable. But like I say, I don't believe it is S-video. I imagine that what this is just a little four-pin port that has 2 grounds, a power supply to the camera, from the TV to the camera, and then a signal, most likely, well, at least I hope, composite, going back from the camera to the TV. And what I want to do is determine which is which, and then we'll just make up a little cable that will just connect the composite and ground to the TV here, and we should be able to use our Commodore 64 or whatever with it. So those are the parts that came in the box. I'll set it up and we'll have a look at an old Euro note under it and see what it can do. How about that? Now, so here it is, put together the way it's supposed to be, with the camera connected to the TV and the TV connected to the wall. And what we'll do first is we'll power it on, and we should get a picture on screen, whatever's been captured by the camera. So there we go. That appears to be working properly. Can you see that? You can. So you can see me on the screen, you can see my hand, you can see the the telephone that I'm using to make this little video, and you see that there's no lag whatsoever between the camera and the TV. So to me it looks to be a pretty good little quality black and white TV. On the front here we've got our vertical hold, so we can adjust that if there's any problem with it. Yeah, there we go. We've also got our contrast adjustment here, and we've got a brightness adjustment as well. If I turn this around this way so that I can place a banknote under it, this here is a €5 banknote, and you'll see that this is the image on the front of the note. Now if I hold that under the camera, we should only be able to see a portion of this arch here, just the right hand side of the arch, and the rest should be very faded or not visible whatsoever. And that way we know that it is a real note. So when I put this under here, you'll see that that's all we see. We only see a portion of that arch. I hope that's picking up good on the camera now. If I can adjust it in some way that it might work better. Maybe like that. Yeah. So that there is only picking up part of the arch, and the rest of the note seems to be blank. There you go. That's it there. So that's how that works. That note there is real for all intents and purposes. But that's how it works. So what I want to do right now is I want to take this TV apart, just have a look at it. We're not going to touch anything on the inside of it because nothing needs to be touched. And it is, of course, a CRT TV. So I don't want to get a shock off it. And we'll just have a little look. And what we will do also is we'll open up this camera and have a little look at that too. And we'll see if we can determine which of the little pins on this cable going from the camera to the TV is carrying a signal, so that we can make up a little cable to connect it to a retro computer. And that's what we will do now. Now here we go. So to open this guy, there are only 2 screws up here on top, which I've already loosened off. And on the bottom there are a couple of clips, which I've already taken out. So this will just slide away like that. And there you go. What we have inside is a mini CRT TV. And although it's taken in a very low 13.5 volt DC current, I'm not going to play with fire on this one. I'm not going to touch anything on it. I know that it has incredibly high voltages in it. The last thing I want to do is get a bang off this. So I'll just show it to you like this. And it is, for all intents and purposes, a miniature black and white CRT TV. That's what it is. It's protected here by a fast flow 2 amp fuse. It's got a gigantic heatsink on it, connected to a little voltage regulator, but I don't know what type of voltage regulator it is because I can't read the markings on it. It's got a little QC Past sticker. It's also got a Made in China sticker on the side of the tube here. It's marked as an F22 tube, 1470. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I can't tell you too much more than that about it. There are markings on the board there, but they're just for component placement. Not really any more than that. The DC power jack is mechanically held in place with some hot glue. So I suppose it's soldered in, but then as an extra little grip is some hot glue on it. So look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back together because I really don't like having it exposed like that. And we'll have a look at the camera internals. So we'll get to that now too. This little IR camera opens up quite easily. On the back of it, there are only 4 Phillips screws. And once they're removed, the plastics can be easily disassembled. On the inside then, the PCB is held to the back plastics with a further 4 screws, which when removed, allow us to easily remove the PCB. And here on the PCB, you see once again, the 6 little infrared LEDs, the little camera itself, and around the back, we've got a load of capacitors and resistors that are all little SMD components. And there's also one little oscillator, one little crystal. Now, what I did at this point was I drew a little diagram of how the connectors connect to the PCB. And then I connected the camera to the TV while the camera was open and powered everything on. And that way I could probe each of those little 4 connectors to see what kind of signals were coming through on it. And I gave my own little pin designation to each of those connectors. So I called them pins 1 through 4. I marked it all down on my little sheet of paper. And what I found was that what I had called pin 1 was ground. Pin 2 had 15.6 volts on it, which seemed to be very, very high. So I figured it must be a voltage going to power the camera. Equally, pin 3 had almost 10 volts on it. I was looking at a voltage of 9.92 when I originally tested it. Pin 4, however, had a voltage of 0.87 on it. And that to me seems to be in line with red, green, blue, synchronous type signals that I've come across before when I've been using SCART cables and stuff on older computers. So I figured that must be some kind of synchronous or composite signal. So I pretty much had the pins I needed. What I had called pin 1 was my ground and pin 4 would be my composite, or at least that's what I was hoping. So I made up a little cable that used just the ground pin and what I had determined to be the composite in pin, and this here is it. Now it's an ugly little affair, granted, because I didn't have a male cable, so I made it up with a little bit of hot snot. And if you want to make a cable somewhat like this, I'll put a link to a video where I show exactly how to do it, and you can amuse yourself doing that kind of stuff. But now that I determined what port is going where, and also I made up my little cable, we'll see will it actually work with any of the devices I have here. What I've got here is I've got my C64, and I'm after loading up the rather excellent game Man Cave. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the video out from the C64 and pipe it into this TV. And we'll see if, number 1, it displays an image, number 2, what the clarity of the image is like, and text and all that kind of stuff on the screen, because it's a little 5-inch monitor. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what kind of quality it can give. Now, if this works, we'll also connect it up to a DVD player, and we'll see what kind of quality it gives in playing a movie as well. So I'm after powering this guy on. It's turned on right now. All I'm going to do is go around, pull out the TV connector from this guy and plug it into this guy. Now, so just to show you what I've done here around the back, it's turned on now and all the rest, but this here is the little homemade cable that I made up plugged in, the little one I was showing you earlier. So all I'm going to do, I will connect the video cable, or disconnect it, and connect it to this. There we go, we've got a little picture anyway. I'll see if I can move the camera in a little closer. So now I'm after fooling around with a few of the TV settings here to try and get the best quality of image I can on the camera, but believe it or not, the quality on the TV is about 10 times better than what the camera is picking up. If I press spacebar on the Commodore, yeah, here we go. That there. There we go, it's loading up another little bit of the game. There we go, so let's try playing a little of this. So I've pressed fire. I don't have any sound because obviously there's no speaker on the TV, but you can see here, we can actually read the text. You can see the score, level, number of magazines that we have to collect, the lives we have, our stress level and our danger level, and actually we can see exactly what's going on screen. So this here is my character, and he's trying to avoid the 2 guys by going up and down the stairs and collecting little magazines that he finds along the way. Okay, so I'm after setting up my DVD player now with the little black and white TV here. So I'm hoping that we will be able to at least play the beginning of the DVD, the little menu screen or whatever, just to see what kind of quality it gives as regards movies. Ah, look at that. Up quite well. But It looks fairly good to me for a little €3 TV. That looks quite good to me. So I don't think I can complain too much about that. But there we go. Okay, so what I've got here is this little Intellivision fella. Play Power from Intellivision. So what I'll do is I'll plug it again just into little port on the back here, and I will power it on. There we go. So what will we do? We play this one. How do I select the game? There we go. Astro Smash. Okay. Now I'll tell you that. Now that is, I suppose this game was probably in very little color anyway to begin with, but no, I think that shows up. That shows up quite well. What I thought of was afterwards. I said, well, there are two inputs or outputs on this little camera guy that came with the TV, and what if I used the little cable I made to connect the one that wasn't being used when this was connected up to the little TV to a regular TV? What had happened? And when I power it on, you'll see I get the image from the camera on both TVs. So I thought that was a nice little extra bonus. So what I ended up with is a little black and white TV now that with a little cable I can plug into pretty much any system that will give me a composite output, and also a little night vision camera, because this guy will work in the darkness. It's an IR camera, so it's kind of like a little night vision camera as well. But of course it needs two kind of high voltages. It needs 9 volt and needs nearly 16 volts in order to work. I imagine one is driving the infrared LEDs and the other one is driving the camera. But there you go. I mean, it's a fun little thing. I got a lot of enjoyment out of it for €3. So there you go. So look guys, if you enjoyed the video, I would be very, very, very grateful if you haven't already to subscribe, like the old video, or dislike it if you didn't like it. Equally, what you could do is leave a comment, because I love getting comments from people. It's great. It kind of makes it all worthwhile, you know. And look, anytime you want to drop by the basement, I'll be here, and we'll have a look at something. We'll try and figure stuff out. We'll see if we can do stuff without breaking things. And look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Talk to you all soon. Bye bye.